Welcome to this complete army video. It is for the Necrons, another army on the channel that's had an overhaul, major overhaul. Some brand new models, brand new list for them. So in this video, we'll showcase the army, show you some of the new models, run through the entire list, we'll give you the points, we'll talk about tactics, and just a chance to step aside from our games and to focus in on one of the factions here, break it down and give you the full tactica for this 2,000 points Necron army. So first up, before we get stuck in, just very briefly, our sponsors for discount 40k. If you're looking to get more Necrons or to start collecting them, it's gamefigures.com. Link for them in the video description below for discount Warhammer and other gaming systems as well. For painting commissions, if you want to get your own army painted up, we recommend RW Studios. Link for them in the video description below as well. And then the backdrop here for filming is the Imperial Refinery battle mat from GameMat.eu, and then also using the Warp Portal and the Industrial Terrain set from them. That's these pieces here from GameMat.eu. So do check them out for pre-painted, pre-made terrain and battle mats from them as well. At the time of filming, there is a large discount across the website for GameMat.eu. It's 20% off. You should see that discount code in the video description below. I believe it's SS20, SS20 will give you 20% off, but that's limited time, limited numbers. If not, there is an 11% discount code that you can use as standard in the video description. So, Necron's been on the channel for years as one of the most requested armies to change the list on. People saying, when are you going to change the list? So, I think Nightbringer was the trigger. Fantastic sculpt from Games Workshop. And so I don't know if I've really built the list around him. I wanted to bring him into the list. And obviously 315 points currently, so it's going to kick some things out. Taking a look at the Necrons because we finished our league. Wanted to see how they could be improved. And a nice focal point, big kind of model was lacking and missing. So Nightbringer's filled in that slot perfectly. So I will show you, I suppose, Nightbringer first. Now he's not quite finished. I've still got work to do. I'd say he's about 3/4 done. I look forward to completely finishing the model, but I'll bring him in here so you can see. So the cloak, the purpley blue cloak that he's wearing isn't finished. I can show you. Yeah, I mean there's a little bit of highlighting done just on the corner here, but I've got to do a lot of work on that. Green's done, you can see the green effect there, all the edge highlighting. It did take a while. It's quite straightforward to do, but it did take a while, just building up the layers on that. And the basing's virtually finished with these Dead Space Marines. If you look at the artwork, you'll see that he's sort of, there's beams coming out of his eyes and he's melting Space Marines actually, so I tried to replicate that with the basing. And the little scarabs are all done. Get focused, so thin here, won't focus on. There he is. There they are, that's the scarabs, they're all done. Blade was the easiest. I just used some literal chrome paint on that. It just gives a nice glint and shine. So that's very easy to do. You see his silvery grey body. You might be catching a little bit of colour shift on that. I've used a colour shift paint. Might add a couple of layers, but wanted something quite subtle. But whether it's coming out on camera, it may well be. See if I can zoom in. Catch a bit of... Yeah, it's glimmering there. If you see the colour shift on that. That was ridiculously easy to do. Sprayed the model silver as the base. Then simply Nagaroth Nightshade over the top to give me those blue shading, and then literally just painted the colour shift paint over the top of that. It was that easy. So I have the paints here. I'll let you know what they are. So Green Stuff World Chrome Metal is what I used on the blade. It literally comes out the way you see it there on the label. It's excellent for doing things like lenses. I use it on the lenses and sighting equipment for my Tau. I just blob it on and that's it. There's no work because it's just got the natural shine to it. Vallejo do a set called the Shifters, and there's all different types. The one I went for here was green, gold, cold blue, because I wanted green and blue in the colour shift. And there's all different ways that it can come out. It works very well if it's sprayed onto like black. You get a lot more of the color shift with that. But I wanted to keep the silver. It's coming out there on the arm actually. See if I can zoom in. Yeah, if you can see the color shift on his arm. I don't want it over the top. I do want it quite subtle. But there is some color shift going on. Maybe I can add some more layers. But again, I don't want to go too over the top with that. I want to keep it quite subtle, but it's there. It's noticeable. It's what catches your eyes is the aim of him. But I think he'll really come alive and brighten up and lift when I get all the edge highlighting done on that cloak. It's going to take a good while, and that's pretty much all that's left to do with him. Might sharpen up the face a little bit as well. Just try and make that pop. I did paint the teeth a bit sort of white just to make them stand out and pop a bit more. But I'm happy enough how he's come out. Great focal point. Very tall model for sure. About as tall as an Imperial Knight if you include the tip of the blade. Nice focal point for the army, but quite shadowy at the same time. So that's him. Other new models are painted. I finished off Illuminor Szeras, who was left undone for quite a while. I finished the highlighting there on the brains. Stuff coming out of the man's head. The purple and the red that you can see, that highlighting was done. And then the blades especially, I'd left those undone. And really happy with how they've turned out. If I can get the camera to zoom in. There it is. Again, I would say it's easy. It was straightforward enough. If you like the look of the Necrons, you can follow my tutorials. The latest one will be for this guy here, the Skorpekh Lord. So there's a full tutorial showing you how to paint him. And if you like the look of the blades, that's all covered. The basing, the base colours, the effects, everything you see here is covered in that video. And once you follow that along, you can apply it to all of the other units that you can see here on the board. The same colour scheme running throughout the army. Most of those processes are there for Nightbringer as well. The other new units, just quickly show you, is the Ophydian Destroyers, which have sat on my shelf to build for months and months and months, and finally got around to building them and painting them up. So really happy. It's great to get a new list done, incentive to get new models painted up. They're amazing sculpts. They're so tall. They're huge models. Really, like twice the height of a Space Marine. They're really good, and hopefully useful enough in this list as well. Major incentive for actually getting the Necrons finished. We've got a tournament coming up just in a few days with the Phoenix Lords, and so everyone's getting their armies ready to face off against each other, and so I really wanted to get the Necrons done in time for that. And so things like that, tournaments are a great deadline, which is a major incentive for getting painting done and armies totally finished. So for the list, you can see it here spread out in front of you. It's 2,000 points. I have stuck with Awakened Dynasty. The basic rule for that is that characters that join units give +1 to the hit rolls. I think that's really strong. And that's +1 to all hit rolls, so +1 for shooting, which is very useful, and +1 out of hitting in close combat as well. So for example, the Skorpekh Destroyers across there hit on 3s. When the Skorpekh Lord joins them, then hit on 2s. That's a major buff. Nice and simple, straightforward rule. It means same for the Technomancer here. He'll join one of the units of Necron Warriors. You'll give them +1 to their hit rolls as well. So great bonuses in that regard. There's some more bonuses going on as well with that. I do like, which we'll come to a bit later on, I do like the stratagems as well, the ability to resurrect a character in a phase after shooting's done, or I think close combat as well. You can start reanimating models is another really good one. +1 strength in close combat as well for a unit is very useful. I think you get an extra AP -1 with that as well. So I do like the stratagems. I like the main role for the Awakened Dynasty. So I've stuck with that, haven't changed up the detachment. But as usual with these videos, always open to discussion and suggestions. So if you want to suggest a different detachment, let us know in the comment section below. What units would you drop? What units would you add? I always do read the comments even if I don't get back to you, and I've often made changes based on what people have said in the comment section. Now for the official list breakdown, it's on membership in the army development video that came out for the Necrons. There's discussion on there. And then there should be a battle report as well with this list live on membership as well. They're up against the Imperial Fists, so we put these Necrons up against one of the toughest armies on the channel, a real learning curve game, and you can see the list and the units in operation in that battle report. Fascinating game, real grinder of a battle, and you can see the result and see how each of these units got on in that fight. That's exclusive to membership. So the full list then should be in the video description below. I'll give you the list here as well with the points. For Necrons, I want a survivable army, so a lot of my units are maxed out in size. I want them as big as possible to absorb damage but not get wiped out, so I can build them back. I love the theme for Necrons for building units back, repairing wounds and restoring models, so I've tried to amplify that. Got like a Reanimator over there. And I want a strong core of the army as like a base that will spread out and take objectives and hold the home objective, and then ambushing, flanking, deep striking, dangerous units to assault and destroy enemy units all across the board. That's the theme here for the Necrons. An army that's in it for the grind, the long war, to see the game through, to gain in strength in the later turns of the game. So I need units that can survive, but also units that can drop in, move swiftly, but a speed in the army. There's units that can move quickly enough around the table as well, I think is vital. And for the Nightbringer, I'm thinking like a dangerous unit and a big distraction type unit as well, to absorb the enemy's firepower and attention whilst the other units do their work on the board. So that's the tactics for the Necrons, just an army that won't go away. It's like grinds the opponent down as well, like their morale, because they won't die and they keep growing back whilst the opponent's suffering casualties. The Necrons are rebuilding themselves. I love that theme. So first up, I think I'll start with the core. So 2 blocks of Necron Warriors. Love the look of that. And currently, for this list for the tournament, I've split them again like I used to. So squads of 20, a block of 10 Gauls Flayers, and a block of 10 Gauls Reapers. So split 50-50 of each. Both Necron Warrior squads the same. The reasoning behind that is in the grind, in the close firefight, I want them to have more punch. So the Gauls Reapers is going to give you AP -1, so a little bit of extra punch to that weapon. And then the Gauls Flayers for range, but then at range 12 they're going to get rapid fire on top of that as well. So 2 blocks, they're 200 points a time, so almost a quarter of the army points spent on that. So 200 and 200. Then to hang around with them will be a Reanimator. That's 75 points. So with the Reanimator, he's there to boost reanimation. The 2 blocks of Necron Warriors, anticipating that they're going to be exposed to enemy firepower. Casualties are going to be coming forwards as they try and push their way through onto objectives and to lay down some kind of firepower as they push forwards. So I reckon damage is going to come in against those deliberately. I've maxed them out to make them large enough, but I need to rebuild them as efficiently and as quickly as possible. So at the start of your command phase, you get Reanimation Protocol roll, D3 wounds, which in this case will be models restored, and then the special roll, quite simply for Canoptic Reanimator, is whilst a friendly Necron's units are in 3 inches of this model, so I'll need to keep them tightly together, like a formation like that. Each time that unit's Reanimation Protocols activates, you reanimate an additional D3 wounds. So that means Necron Warriors reanimating will be D3 wounds restored, and it's re-rollable because they're Necron Warriors, and as soon as that kicks off, then it triggers another reanimation from the Canoptic Reanimator. So in effect, I'm doubling my reanimation protocols for the Necron Warriors, and the idea is just to keep topping them up as close to their starting strength as possible to try and stop them from getting wiped out. So I think if they're 10 points each, and it's D3 and D3, and it keeps cycling through that Reanimator is going to pay its points very quick. It's also going to benefit other units that are nearby, as if the Nightbringer's next to it, and it reanimates in the command phase, it'll reanimate again. If I've got a character that's trying to restore wounds, Illuminor Szeras perhaps is damaged, or any of these units, Tomb Blades, it's going to assist. So I think a great anchor point. The idea is I'll keep it at the back. I'll try and hide it as much as I can. It's quite tough. It's got no invuln save. It's got 6 wounds, toughness 6, 3 up save. It does have a 4+ feel no pain, so it can take some punishment. But ideally I'll keep it hidden away, and then from one turn to the next, just keep those reanimations running through with the Reanimator, and I think it's high enough value on the table for sure. And really, a pretty good sentinel to sit on the home objective. If it sits on the home objective and the Necron warrior units fan out from that to reach perhaps one other or two other objectives on the board, and it just keeps topping up those reanimations from one turn to the next. It's the plan. So I'm trying to build a base of durability for the Necrons and then other elite units to go out and do the more sort of killing kind of work. So to add to that, I'll go to the Technomancer next. A similar kind of role for him, actually. I think it's well worth his points. Reanimator is 75, as the Technomancer is 80 points. But again, I think he could pay his points back pretty good. I've also given him the Phasal Subjugator. It's a 35-point upgrade. It means that his +1 to the hit rolls becomes a 6-inch aura ability. So it means he's going to influence any of the Necron units within those 6 inches. So he would join one of the Necron warrior squads. So they'll just get +1 straight away. They'll bodyguard and protect him. Then if I keep him literally like here, he could then influence the second Necron warrior squad with his aura ability. So instead of getting 2 characters, I can just use the influence from him. If other units are nearby, say I'm bringing in the Triarch Praetorians to fight and clear away an enemy attack, if they keep within range 6 inches of him, they'll get +1 to the hit rolls for shooting and close combat, which is a major buff. So that 35 points, really worth it. And on top of all of that, the Technomancer gives the parent unit a 5+ feel no pain. So now that entire unit of Necron warriors gets a 5+ feel no pain, again to add to their durability, try and stack it up. And on top of that as well, at the end of the movement phase, there is a bit of maneuverability available with him. A unit within 6 inches of the bearer restores another D3 wounds. Now, I don't think it's a reanimation protocol, it's a repair ability. So he can, as long as he maintains coherency, he can hop around the fringes of his unit. Say, for example, Nightbringer's over here, and in the movement phase, I can hop him over to the back of his unit, maintain coherency, and then add some wounds onto a damage model, such as Nightbringer. So a lot of uses for him, a lot of good buffs going on. And that character, again, is to add to the durability of the core Necron warrior phalanx. So that's him. I've given you the points for the Technomancer. Then I'll go here. We'll go for a bit of firepower support, so backline firepower support. Lokhust Heavy Destroyers, squad of 3. They're just over here in the corner. So 3 of those. They are a threat. They do attract a tremendous amount of attention from the opponent, which is a bad thing because they can get destroyed. So you're going to have to use them as stealthily and as carefully as possible. 165 points for a squad of 3. Again, if they're positioned correctly and they're near the Technomancer at the back, because there's no need for him to be near the front. If they hang around with the Necron warriors, staying at the back, near the Reanimator, near the Technomancer, then wounds can be stacked up and start being added back onto them. And his +1 to the hit rolls will be so useful for their shooting and give them 2s to hit with the Gore's Destructor. It is a heavy weapon, so they could remain stationary, but I think they're better for ambush because they just get taken down. They're 4 wounds, toughness 6, 3 up save. There's no invuln save. If the opponent directs in the right firepower, like las cannons are a real bane for them, then they can be wiped out, which is a real danger. And so I want to be able to build them back quickly. I want to keep them hidden away, and the buffs from him I think is really worth it. So real good dedicated anti-tank, anti-monster firepower. 1 shot, 3s to hit, could be 2s. Strength 14, which is fantastic. AP -4, which is fantastic. Straight 6 damage is an excellent weapon. And then reroll 1s to wound against monsters and vehicles, built in. I think it's hard for them to completely take out a target, so from one turn to the next, their firepower I think will be useful. So I really do want to keep them alive as much as possible. You should see those operating at the back, a sort of backline firepower support. Range 48 is a real good coverage of the table. Alright, so we'll pick another unit here. Yeah, I think it's logical to do. We've done Necron Warriors. Next up, Illuminor Szeras. Showed the model to you earlier on. Just finished him off. He is expensive. He's 165. I don't know if he's worth it. I really want the model in the list. I'm going to try and make him work as much as possible. But to me, he's just an okay unit. He's okay. And it's a lot of points for an okay type unit. 8-inch move. Again, he's going to hang around with the Warriors just to bolster them. 2 up save, 4+ invuln save. He is quite tough. He's very tough, actually. 9 wounds. OC of 3. It's quite a good anchor point for your army. You can do a bit of shooting with the Eldritch Lance, range 36, 3 shots, needing 3s, strength 9 minus 3 damage. You can fight a bit in close combat with the Eldritch Lance, 4 attacks, needing 3s, strength 9 minus 3 damage. He's okay fighting from one turn to the next. He's got on top of all of that, the invuln save, the number of wounds, 2 up save. He's got a 4 up feel no pain, which is excellent. If he's hanging around with the Reanimator, the Technomancer, then I can stack the wounds onto him quickly enough as well. He's infantry, which means I think he can partake of the stratagem that lets him resurrect if he's slain, which is really good as well. So there is real good durability. The main reason for taking him is if he hangs around the Necron Warriors, then he gets blown up as well, so making him more difficult to kill. He's got to be within 3 inches of a Necron unit, and he gets lone operative. And then mechanical augmentation. Also, for any Necron's battle line unit, so that's the Necron Warriors, is within 3 inches of this model. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack. Oh, makes an attack. So that's even for close combat. How interesting. Improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. And each time an attack targets the unit, worsen the AP by 1. In the game we played, it really did help. So AP minus 1 firepower coming through. He then ignored it on the Necron Warriors. And then often they were in cover, so then they got their cover bonus as well, taking them from a 4 up save to a 3 up. So it really does help. It's going to help a bit in close combat as well. And then for their shooting, remember I've taken the Gor's Reapers for AP minus 1. They'll become AP minus 2, which is better, way better, because of Illuminor Szeras. And even the Gor's Flayers will become AP minus 1 because of him. So if I can max out his buff to both Necron Warrior units, then maybe he really is worth it. I really do have to keep in mind though that this core that I'm building is all backline, mid-table support type units. They're not the tip of my spear and units that I want plunging into close combat, really getting too involved in the thick of the fighting or going out alone. They'll need support from other units. But I want them strong and durable and to maintain a strong presence in the middle of the board, the home objective, and then pushing out to a couple of the no man's land objectives. So hopefully Necron Warriors durable with all those supporting units. But they'll need help and they'll need protection, I believe. So to do that, I'll go Tomb Blades next. So the Tomb Blades, they're quite cheap. It's 150 points for those for a squad of 6. Again, maxing out just to get as much durability as possible. I'm sticking with my firepower with the particle beamers. D6 shots each, so 6 D6 shots at strength 5 AP 0 and 1 damage. But they got blast, so really good at taking on hordes. And they got dev wounds as well, which means they can pick up wounds on 6s and cause damage against anything, which is really good. Great for chipping off wounds against any kind of target. They are quite flexible. They're nice and quick. 12-inch move. Scout 9 as well, so they've got a bit of an early maneuver that they can do towards something or away before the game gets going. And also with invasion engrams in your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, you can make a normal move up to 6 inches. If it does, to the end of the turn, it's not eligible to declare a charge, so it's got a shoot and scoot type ability with them as well. So a nice bit of flexible firepower. I so often throw them in too early and they get wiped out, so I need to be cautious and hold back. Have them as a supporting firepower type unit to hang around with the Necron Warriors and not to get blasted off the table in the early turns of the game, just to keep their firepower going from one turn to the next. I take nebula scopes for their firepower, so ignoring cover. So if they are trying to flush out hordes, it's just going to negate any kind of cover saves they're trying to get, which can be useful against any targets with a 4-up or less armor save. It's not really going to have much impact against like Space Marines with 3-up in cover. So that's Tomb Blades. I'll then bring in the new units. So Ophydian Destroyers. So these are entirely different in the way they're going to operate on the board. These operate on the very extreme fringes of the army to avoid trouble as much as possible, although they can fight alright in close combat, but not to get sucked into combats. Ideally with these things, they're to operate around the edges of my army and the edges of the table, and therefore picking up points for secondaries, to reap points for secondaries coming through, getting into the opponent's deployment zone, performing sabotage, cleansing objectives, getting into table quarters, different zones, just fulfilling different actions, and also for picking on and wiping out sort of more isolated units that are hidden away. Space Marine scouts to go after them, small squads of intercessors, those kind of targets, to pick on those, but primarily to reap points for secondaries. 2 squads of 3. They're 80 points a time. You get plasma sight with each as well. 10-inch move. I've been told and I've been warned that they can get wiped out so quickly. 3 wounds, just a 4-up save, toughness 5, knowing 1 save, so if they do get picked on, they can disappear. And if they're wiped out, I've lost the use of them. Plasma sight can be triggered once in the game to give them devastating wounds if they really do need to go for a charge. And the tactical flexibility comes from 2 things. First up is deep strike, so I can drop them in anywhere on the board using the normal deep strike rules. And also tunneling horrors. At the end of your opponent's turn, if the unit's not of an engagement range, you can remove them from the board and then bring them in at the start or in your movement phase on the next turn. That's really good, being able to do that. Just drop in, fulfill a secondary, survive, you'll be careful where you land, and then remove them at the end of your opponent's turn, and then bring them back again, and just keep recycling them during the battle. Really, really useful. And cheap enough as well, like if I do have to go for like a early Aerodinal, for example, and there's no one there, and I drop them in, pick up the points, and they're wiped out, but then I've got the points on the board, so sort of more of an expendable type unit. 80 points isn't so bad if they are indeed destroyed. So that's their role, a specific scouting flexible role. So what we have now is then a core army. So home objective, middle ground, construction. We have a couple of scouty type units for picking up points for secondaries. Now I need a bit of firepower backline support. Now I need some hard-hitting, close combat, dangerous units on the board. I have 3. First combination are these guys. Perhaps the hardest hitting unit that I have in the list. That is the Skorpekh Lord with the Skorpekh Destroyers. Love the sculpts as soon as they ever came out for the Necrons. Always liked them. Squad of 6, big size, 2 plasma sights in the squad. And obviously they'll be joined by the Skorpekh Lord during the game. It's quite a formidable unit. The danger for them is if they get shot to pieces before they're able to hit at full strength. So usually they'll flank and ambush. Rapid ingress is preferable, where they can arrive in the end of the opponent's movement and then move off at the start of my next turn to get in a decent charge range. It's really worth taking this as a combo. The Skorpekh Destroyers, they're on 4 attacks each, hitting on 3s. Strength 7, AP -2 and 2 damage. It's a real good profile. They move 8 inches. They've got 3 wounds each. Toughness 6 on them, 3-up save. Whirling Onslaught. Each time a model on this unit makes a melee attack, you can reroll hit rolls of 1. If you made a charge move, you reroll the hit rolls. They're exceptionally reliable for the hitting. The Plasma Sight will give them devastating wounds, which is fantastic, so they can take on pretty much anything on the board, which is a real good asset to have. And the Skorpekh Lord just makes them go nuts. He will give them automatically +1 to hit rolls because he's leading the unit. So now they're hitting on 2s, potentially. Yeah, hit on 2s, fully rerollable, because either you're rerolling 1s or rerolling the full reroll. So it makes the entire unit and himself just super reliable. He also gives the entire unit, including himself, lethal hits, so that's really useful against the higher armoured targets. And on top of that, he's got impact hits as well, causing either D3 or D3 +3 mortal wounds on the charge when that charge goes in. Bit of firepower, and in close combat, the Hyperphase Harvester, 4 attacks into strength 10, -3 and 3 damage. There is a stratagem to give you an extra AP -1 and +1 strength for close combat to give them a boost. So a real hard hitting, decent unit. Points cost, the Skorpekh Lord is 90, and the Skorpekh Destroyers are 180. So a fair bit invested in them, but a unit that I can call upon to flank and charge into pretty much anything, and they should do well. Next up is, we'll do Triarch Praetorians. This is a late addition to the list. I just felt I needed another close combat type unit. Skorpekh Destroyers will fight against anything, as Triarch Praetorians will do well against anything lightly armoured and hordes. They'll cut through hordes fast. They will struggle against vehicles. For sure, I give them the Particle Casters, so Devastating Wound, 3-shot pistols. This squad of 10, so it's like 30 shots with the pistols. It's at strength 5, so you can soften up a target or fire at one target and charge something else. And in close combat, the Void Blades is 4 attacks each, so like 40 attacks come from the unit, possibly hitting on 2s if he's nearby. Strength 5, AP -2, which is great, and damage 1. And again, the stratagem to give him +1 to the AP, or an extra AP -1, +1 strength, particularly useful. And yeah, a rule which I've missed. You can re-roll charge rolls, and you can fall back and charge with them as well. It's all built in with their relentless competence special rule. Plus they have deep strike, so I can drop them in if needed. So I can use these in different ways. They jump 10 inches, so I can either use them as a protector unit for the core of the army to jump out when needed, or I can use them more of a free reign deep strike where they need to land, aggressive type unit. So different options available with them. Then finally, the Nightbringer. I have scrawled all over this, updating the rules, and no doubt the rules may well change again. We'll see. But Nightbringer then, with the latest rules, 315 points for him. I've got a core of an army, I've got supporting firepower, I've got 2 killer units on the board, and he's to be the 3rd killer unit, and he's there to just be a killer unit and also a distraction as well, for the opponent to send in so much effort and for him to absorb much of firepower to keep the pressure off my other units is the ideal situation. So movement 10, toughness 11, 3-up save, 4+ invuln save, 16 wounds to try and get through. On top of those 16 wounds, there's a 5+ feel no pain on him as well, so I think he's going to be tough to kill. He's also got deep strike, which is very useful. And a bit of firepower, which I must get into the habit of not relying on, because it's D3 shots, literally 1 shot you could get. Range 18, 2s to hit though, strength 12 -3 and D3 +3 damage. Then in close combat, that's where his forte is. 6 attacks with devastating wounds if you strike, 2s to hit, strength 14, -4 and D6 +2 damage. Don't like the... I'd love to be able to reroll 1s or something with him, but anyway, because you're almost guaranteed to get a couple of 1s with hitting, and it just knocks them down. Each one that misses or doesn't wound, it hurts. I can sweep with it as well. 14 attacks, 2s to hit, strength 8, -2 and 2 damage. Then you got drain life ability. At the end of the fight phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model. On a 4+, the enemy unit takes a d3 mortal wounds. And it's -1 damage against him as well, just to further add to his durability. I'm half tempted to really use him like I do with the Avatar as a bullet magnet and a distraction to free up more of my army. We'll see. And this is part of the idea of these experimental battles, the one we've done against the Imperial Fists, how to use the units on the board, and really you can only ever find that out when you're actually using them in real games of 40k. So that's the point behind those kind of battles, and you do learn so much how your army works and what doesn't work on the table. That's the Catan, the last unit. Amazing sculpt from Games Workshop. And now, like the Eldar with their Avatar, and like Magnus the Red with 1,000 Suns, now the Necrons have got a nice focal point in the heart of their army. So that's the list. If you total all those points together, it comes to 1995 points. Feel free to copy this list or take elements from it. I'd love to hear back from you. What would you change? What would you drop? What could I swap Illuminor Szeras for? Or should I keep him in? Or should I drop the Tomb Blades? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. I'd love to hear tactics from you as well, especially if you've had experience using the Nightbringer with the new rules. How does he work best for you on the battlefield? How could he work best here for this army? So the two options for me with him would be to hang around at the back and to deliberately absorb firepower and to be a counter punch type unit, things that get too close, or to deep strike and drop him in and let him have free reign on the table. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that for the Nightbringer. And other units as well, that'd be great to hear back from you in the comment section below. If you want to get more involved in the community, you can join us on channel membership to unlock the bonus videos that we have, including the battle reports. If you go to the higher tiers on membership and on Patreon as well, you can join us on the WhatsApp group, come to events and so on, with the Phoenix Lords also. And a massive shout out to everyone that supports us. It means we can keep the content coming, hopefully bring you some great content, some great battle reports going forwards. And then our sponsors, do check them out. Links below for GameMet.eu, RW Studios, and Gaming Figures. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.